against the former Super Bowl MVP. Lavar's back with us, boo. Acho, you think Trubisky earned a starting job over Nick Foles?
Wake up, Lavar.
Oh, no. Wake up, Nino.
Absolutely not. I don't think so. And I'm reminded of this when I was in middle school, and you get a math assignment, and you're rushing through it, you're rushing through it, you're rushing through it. You got to triple check and quadruple check your homework before you submit it, because you got to make sure you didn't get it wrong. That's what the Bears are doing with Mitch Trubisky. They are double-checking and triple-checking and even quadruple-checking Mitch Trubisky's ability, because before they submit this final grade and say, hey, world, we got Mitch wrong, they have to make sure they did everything in their power to confirm or deny that it was such. General Manager Ryan Pace, the general manager for the Bears, his life, his career is tied to the success or lack thereof of Mitch Trubisky. I'm not going to get into all the weeds, but I'm going to remind y'all of this. The Bears traded up from the pick number 3 to number 2 to draft Mitch Trubisky. Let's think about who they traded. They gave up 2 picks. One of those picks was a number 67 overall pick in that draft. Who was drafted number 67 overall? Alvin Kamara, baller. And so when you think about the Bears and everything that they have in line and everything that they have sacrificed for Mitch, they got to make sure they cross all them T's, they dot all them I's, and they make sure and ensure that Mitch is the actual problem and they are not the problem. I don't necessarily think he earned the job. But last thing I'm going to say before I toss this rock is this, and I'm glad I said toss this rock, because now I'm going to talk hoops.
Okay.
I was talking to a general manager once, fellas, and he told me it's not about who you miss on. Just make sure whoever you draft is great. I'm going to say it again. It's not about who you miss on. Just make sure whoever you draft is great. Everybody clowns Mitch Trubisky because, oh, the Bears could have drafted Patrick Mahomes. They could have drafted Deshaun Watson. But remember, Chiefs fans aren't depressed they didn't draft Deshaun Watson because they drafted Patrick Mahomes. Let's talk hoops. I believe it was the 1984 NBA draft. Michael Jordan gets taken 3rd overall. Everybody clowns Sam Bowie, who was taken number 1 by the Trailblazers, because y'all should have took Jordan. But nobody talks about the Rockets for drafting Akeem number 2, because Akeem Olajuwon was still a baller, and Akeem Olajuwon still brought them 2 chips. So it's not about who you miss, it's about who you land on. The Bears thus far, we know they didn't get Mahomes, we know they didn't get Deshaun, but they're still trying to prove to the world,
really good,
Mitch Trubisky is still a dude.
Look at you over Lavar. It's really good, Archer. You know why? Because all you want is affirmation. You don't want information.
No, well, he just knows how to give credit when
you must, obviously, he agrees with you.
Then.
Okay, here's some information, not affirmation.
Go ahead.
I think that Mitchell Trubisky went out there and earned a job. And I think for me to sit here and say, Matt Nagy, you're lying, which Acho basically said in a lot of words, because he's like, how dare that...
Why you always lying? Matt Nagy, stop lying.
He said that, and I caught that, but here's the thing. Nick Foles has never shown that he's a guy that's going out there stealing jobs and taking jobs. Now, what Nick Foles has shown is either A, I could ride the wave of whoever's a starter, or B, you know what? If situations, someone gets hurt,
I will address this.
What? Don't you go back to that old resume.
Not the greatest eagle of all time.
So let's talk about that. 2, Matt Nagy is not attached to Mitchell Trubisky. Remember, John Fox is the one that was there when they first drafted Mitchell Trubisky. Didn't have tremendous success. He had to go. Matt Nagy comes in, and Mitch and them, they win 12 games. Mitchell starting and winning 11 of those games. So when you look at this situation, I love my boy Acho saying he didn't want to go into the weeds, so I guess he just wanted to smoke it instead, because that's how he sounded talking about this situation. You're talking about Nick Foles, who has embraced the role as a backup to the point where he could have left a year earlier to free agency, but decided, no, I just like being behind Carson Wentz. It's so cute back here, and I'm just going to champion the role of a backup. Oh, you got something to say?
If you all do not mind, Lavar, if you do not mind, I must first address any Nick Foles slanders that against my religion, and it is the essence of my core.
Oh, yeah, it's the greatest eagle ever.
Tried to say that Nick Foles has always rode a wave. He's never created one himself. Well, Marcellus, although you are supposed to be the renowned historian on this show, I must present to you some history.
And I'm going to use it against you.
Michael Vick generational type of talent. 2013 had the Eagles at 3-5. Nick Foles comes in winning 7 games in a row.
Is that another wave?
No. How is 3-5 a wave? 3-5 is crazy.
I didn't say he was a big wave. I didn't say tsunami. I said you got on somebody else's wave.
3-5 is a ripple. That's a ripple.
3-5. A rock could create a 3-5.
Y'all thought I meant success. I mean something that somebody else started, and he has to come in to save it. Yeah. That's all he is.
So what you're saying,
he rides waves.
So you're saying Nick
somebody else started, and then he just get in. Oh, here I go.
Saying Foles is going to come in and clean up what Trubisky does.
I'm saying his best asset is to do that, ride the wave that whatever Mitchell creates, either that is in success and injury.
No more questions, Your Honor.
Oh, success and injury, or it's in failure. That's when you call on Nick Foles. But I'm not done. But go, Lavar.
Well, I'll say I do not believe he earned the job based off of going out there on the field and earning it. And even though he wasn't, Nagy's pick, he's the number 2 pick. And we all know, Marcellus, you know this, that when the organization feels a certain type of way about a certain pick, you have to get in line, fall in line, and that includes the head coach on the decisions that he makes. Here's the biggest reason why Mitch Trubisky is still the starting quarterback going into this season. Because he is the number 2 overall draft pick that they came to get and bring him there. He did have a moment of success while he was there. And to that point, if he were to fail, then you're talking about putting in Nick Foles, and that final grade for Mitchell Trubisky is going to seal his fate as a Chicago Bear. He will not be a Chicago Bear if or when Nick Foles becomes a starter. You have to give that one last opportunity, and I think that's why he's starting.
Look, I get it. We're not going to act dumb like we're not former players. If there's a tie, the tie goes to the number 2 overall pick. Except in Lavar Arrington's case, they shipped you out of town. You was number 1 2 pick.
Well, I gave money back, brother. Don't trip. I gave money back.
I know his button. I know where to push. But here's the thing.
I gave $2 million back to leave, by the way. But
Lavar, you're a baller. And Mitchell Trubisky's shown 1 year where he was a baller, and then other than that, you're kind of like, I don't know who this guy really is. But I know who Nick Foles is, because Nick Foles wanted to sit, Super Bowl MVP, wanted to sit behind Carson Wentz because it's his team, and you know what? I don't need to get paid. I'm a good guy. I love this Philadelphia city so much. And then waited a year. But then he said, you know what? I was a good guy. Now it's time to get paid. Forget all this sitting behind Carson Wentz stuff. And went to Jacksonville. What had happened was got broke up, beat down.
What had happened?
What had happened was got beat up, broke down, didn't even play well, got his job back, lost it, and then they ate the money to a 6th rounder by the name of Gardner Minshew. Nick Foles is supposed to beat out Mitchell Trubisky, a number 2 overall, but he can't beat out a 6th rounder in Jacksonville. Will y'all please get out of here with this?
On this show, Marcellus.
Gardner Minshew.
Okay, now look.
Minshew.
What we've established, and we can all agree, is this.
What? He can't beat out Gardner.
No, what we've established is Mitch Trubisky is already getting this job because of where he was drafted. If it was a tie, which Marcellus has now said, even assuming it's a tie, Mitch is going to get the bump. But I got to address some other lies. The Jaguars have shown...
What team are you talking about?
Now I'm talking about the Jaguars, because that's where you went, and I got to go there.
Okay.
The Jaguars have shown proficiency in shipping off talented players. Jalen Ramsey, Leonard Fournette, Yannick Ngakoue. So honestly,
every team, the Patriots do that. Don't do that. That's not.
You just have to slot him in along with the other greats, Marcellus, if I may. But I digress. Go ahead.
That was simple. That was lazy. The Patriots are the kings of doing that, shipping away talent. But I know where you're trying to go. All I'm saying
is, have the talent, Marcellus. Leonard Fournette. Don't you do that.
I'm not saying they don't make mistakes in Jacksonville. Look, they let me go. No, not really. My contract expires. Here's the point.
Pray for him, Lord. Pray for Marcellus.
Every organization makes mistakes, but you got to be real about Nick Foles. We don't know when he's ever detonated a situation to greatness.
That's
1.
fair.
2, if you come into a compromised offseason and during a pandemic with no preseason games and you just lost your position,